All right. So what you're going to want to make sure that you have first is Audacity or some other kind of audio editor, Switch Toolbox, and Citric Composer. You'll also want to have your song ready, and you want to know at what point it loops in samples. So the first thing you might want to do is go into Citric Composer, and then Tools, Isabelle Sound Editor, and then using this, you can import the BFSTM file for the song that you wish to replace. And then using that, you should be able to export it as a WAV and open up Audacity. And within Audacity, what you can do is then take the file that you get, the WAV that it spits out, open it here, and check what sample rate the song that you wish to replace is. In this case, which is Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road, it is 32 kilohertz. That is important, and when we go to import our own song, what we need to do is change the sample rate of this song to 32 kilohertz. And you can do so down here in Audacity. So now that we're in Audacity, what we need to do is to go to Edit, Preferences, Import Export, and change this to Use Advanced Mixing Options, and then hit OK. What this is going to do is give us a little dialog option to choose how many channels the WAV file that we export in the end has. By default, Audacity only lets you do mono or stereo, but we need more than that. The reason that we have 4 channels is because we've got the left audio channel, the right audio channel, and then in a lot of other songs, there will also be a couple of extra channels. Most of them will have the 2 channels for the front-running drum beat. So if I pan the left and the right to the correct channels, and then mute solo these 2 channels and hit play, you'll hear that. This is what you hear in the background that fades in if you're in first place and leading during the race. You do not need to have drums here. You can just leave this silent by going to the end of your song, selecting here, dragging all the way to the beginning of it, then pressing Generate, Silence, and then hitting Generate once more. And what it will give you now is a blank track with nothing in it. This will be useful for if you don't want to have a front-running track. So now that we've done this, we're ready to export. Hit File, Export, Export as WAV. This will bring up a menu, allowing us to choose where we want this file to export and change the encoding. This is important. Make sure that you change the encoding from 32-bit or whatever is currently selected to 16-bit PCM. The Isabelle Sound Editor will give you errors otherwise. Now press Save. I'll change this so I don't accidentally overwrite the original. And here's this Advanced Mixing Options menu. Make sure that the amount of output channels is 4, and that you've got 4 tracks here. Then hit OK. Don't worry about the metadata. It might be worth clicking clear though. OK. You can now repeat this process for your final lap music by dragging it in, making sure everything looks good. You've got the 4 tracks, or however many the song that you want to replace has, changing the project sample rate to 32 kilohertz, File, Export, Export as WAV, changing the name so you don't accidentally overwrite your previous file, making sure the encoding is still set to 16-bit PCM, and pressing Save. Make sure that you've got the right channels lined up, and that you've got the correct amount. Press OK. Remove the metadata. Press OK. And then that's it. So now that we have the properly prepared files, what we are going to want to do is open up Citric Composer, Tools, Isabelle Sound Editor, Edit, and Import File. Now you want to choose your 32 kilohertz versions, or whatever the sample rate of your original track that you are replacing is, and press Open. Now what this should have done is added some channels to this little drop-down menu. If we press the plus button, you'll see them all here. Now if you select one, or if you just hit play up here, you should be able to hear your music. If that all sounds good, we need to set the loop points. So go project info, and over here you'll have a lot of different options. Loop start will be the sample in which the loop begins. Make sure your loop start sample is still accounting for the changed sample rate. In my case, it is 103,777. Make sure that you tick the loop button, and you can copy and paste this information into the original loop and original loop end parameters, and press update project info. Now if you press play, you may drag the playback all the way to the end, hit play once more, and you should have a seamless loop. Now what you want to do is press File, Export Binary, and choose from the Save as Type dropdown, NXStream BFSTM. Give it a unique name, and press Enter. Rinse and repeat for the final lap version. In my case, the loop starts at the very beginning for the final lap music, so I'm not going to change it. Update project info. Now hit File, Export Binary, Final Lap. Make sure it's still saving as the correct type, and press Save. Now what we need to do is create prefetch files for both of these tracks. Press the Tools button in the Isabelle sound editor, Stream to Prefetch. Now you need to select one of your files and hit Open. With the version selector, you need to figure out which version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe you want to target for this mod. In my case, I am modding version 1.0.0, so I will select this and hit Set Version. Here, we want to go to the Save as Type dropdown and switch it to the Switch Prefetch. Here, name it something that you will remember, and press Enter. And do the same for your final lap version. Now you can close the Isabelle Sound Editor and Citric Composer and open up the Switch toolbox. Navigate to your ROM dump and open it up. If you go down the path Audio, Static, you should see a file named BGM.bars. From here, you can drag it into your Switch toolbox. If you open it up, check Audio, or just press the search button and look for the song that you wish to replace. Then press it, and you can see it here. Now go Replace, or right-click, Replace, and select the prefetch that we built, corresponding to the song that you wish to replace it with. Then press Open, and do the same for the final lap version. Now you can press Save, and close Switch Toolbox. Now, all that is left is to open up wherever you saved your BFSTMs, navigate to your ROM dump, go Audio, Resource, Stream, and replace the files with the BFSTMs that you have just created. Make sure that you also rename them to what the songs that you wish to replace are named. Now, if you enable your mod, you should see that the music has been changed in the game.